It's showtime.
Hey, what's going on, fellow captains? It's Muse. So today, for the off-meta series, we're going to be doing the Florida. Now, I know the Florida is a ship that has its own reputation. A lot of people say it's one of the worst ships in the game. I think a lot of people misunderstand this ship and they try to misuse it. Is it possible for Florida to have a big game? Yes, it is definitely possible for Florida to have big games, damage-wise. You know, if you go watch Spartan, you go watch Chile, you go watch some of those guys, you know, they do the meme runs in Florida, because it's not one of the stronger ships at the tier. You know, it's kind of cool to take it and go do those things. It's kind of a challenge, a meme. That's not what this ship is designed for. That's not what it's best at, though, and that's what we're going to focus on today is what this ship is really, really good at. And the featured battle is going to showcase that. And while we don't do a ton of damage in the featured battle, we control that match. From the time we decide to go into the end of the match, it is our match. We control it, and we're going to end up finishing top on the team. And you'll see when we get to that. So what is Florida? It is a prototype ship that preceded the North Carolina. So there's kind of elements of North Carolina in this ship. There's things on this ship, though, that did not make it to North Carolina. What makes Florida, quote unquote, bad in a lot of people's opinion? It does not bring a lot of firepower to the table. Some of that is due to the quad turrets cause a very long reload on it. I believe mine is at 33.5 seconds, which is, I believe, the base. So very long reload. It has 14-inch guns, so you don't have the most punching power. It's very good against cruisers with the smaller guns, especially because you have a lot of them. But again, that long reload time, you can't really be a fire starter because by the time, you know, you set a fire, 35 seconds has gone by. It doesn't really lend itself to the fire starting role either. The AP DPM is some of the highest at the tier, but you're talking small caliber guns with a lot of them. So on paper, it's very high, but in actuality, you can't really sit there and punch through, bow tanking BB's armor, so you don't have as much DPM as it says on paper. Um, so that's why people consider the ship bad. The long reload, the smaller caliber guns, it just doesn't favor a lot of people. What this ship is really good at is AA. This is probably one of the premier AA battleships in the game, if not one of the best. So in the featured battle, we're going to go against Tier 7s, Tier 7 carrier, and we're just going to shred their planes. So we'll get to that. Let's move on into the stats. Alright, so starting off with the survivability, we have one of the highest HP pools of the tier, the fourth highest. Armor is a little sketch. Not too great with armor. We'll get to that when we do the armor profile. Your torpedo reduction's kind of low, so not the tankiest thing, but you do have a lot of HP to work with. That's a very good thing. Moving on to the guns. So we have 3x4 14-inch guns. Firing range of 16.1, 33.5 second reload, a long turn time on the turrets. You can see the damage, 22% fire starting chance. So when you do fire, you can set fires, but the reload is so long that usually, people are on DCs before you can really get them perma'd. This is the bread and butter right here. This is the bread and butter. The AA is jacked through the roof on this thing. And like I said, it cuts through tier 7 carriers' planes like butter. So imagine what it does to a tier 5. And with a fully jacked AA build, it is just absolutely phenomenal at AA. Probably one of the best AA ships in the game. In the likes of the California, the Friesland, the Mino. Some of the best AA in the game. So if you want to do the meme, I'm going to go out and see how much damage I can get with Florida, by all means, throw Sims on there, throw, New Jersey on there, and go do your thing. But what this ship really favors is AA, so a Kong build or a Lee AA build, which we'll get to, are going to be your most optimal builds on this thing and really take advantage of that AA. In carrier games, you can literally dominate that game, control the entire map, and that's, to me, the way to go. You can see what it has there. The best are going to be those 40mm Bofors Mark IIs. They're doing 175 damage at almost 5 kilometers. So those things, once something comes into that 4.7 range, shredded. Absolutely shredded. And you're hitting them way before that. So yeah, that's pretty nasty. So let's move down into maneuverability. Got a maximum speed of 27.8. Turning circle of 760 and a rudder of 15.4. Rudder is one of the worst at the tier, worst BBs at the tier. Turning circle is really nice. This thing turns on a dime once you get that rudder kicked over, and you can really take advantage of that and kind of do a lot of shimmy and shaking and all that good stuff. So then we're going to move on into the concealment. And for the concealment, this is one of the worst battleships at the tier for concealment. So just if you thinking sneaky build, just get it out of your mind. It's not going to happen. This thing is not sneaky. You can see it from miles away. When it's doing its thing, it doesn't matter. When it's in a carrier game, it just does not matter that you can see it. As long as you know how to protect yourself, then you just do what you do and take people's planes. So let's move on. Here we're going to have our consumables. So we got the damage control, we've got our heals, because I got Kong with the perk, I've got 5 heals. And then we're going to take the catapult fighters just to add to the misery for carriers. We're going to throw fighters in on top of just disgusting AA. So like, most carriers, after they've come over you once, they just don't want nothing to do with you. You're just disgusting to them. Like, you can literally just force a carrier to go somewhere else. So yeah, the secondaries on this thing aren't so hot, so we're not going to run secondary module, anything like that. We want our fighters. We want to just go pure AA and just dominate the skies. and that's what we're going to do. And we're going to go check out our modules. So the first slot, we're going to go with AA. Now, even if you do run a Sims or a Jersey build, I would still recommend the AA. Then we have propulsion and our concealment. And those are going to be your 3 mod slots. And that's what we're going to roll with. Then we're going to talk about the armor. Armor on this thing is really not that great. You're kind of squishy, so you really need to be doing the whole being aware, being very aware of your situation, what's going on the map. You need to be moving, you need to be, you know, angling, turning, shimmying, shaking, doing everything you can to tank damage. Through the bow, through the cheeks. There's almost no place on this ship that they're not gonna just punch through you. The one good thing you have, this does have a smaller superstructure than most American ships. So while you still have a lot of HP in that superstructure, it's a lot harder to hit. It's not as big as a lot of the other battleships. Taking a look at the Citadel, the thing is above the waterline. The belt is directly on the Citadel, so if they punch your belt, they're in your Citadel. Really not a good Citadel. You do not want to go broadside in this thing. It doesn't take damage well from any angle. You can kind of belt tank with it a little bit if you're savvy to belt tanking. That's something you can do. Probably your best option as far as tanking with this thing is going to be getting things off the belt. You do have to watch the cheeks. They can go through the front, but you can angle a little to mitigate that. So we're going to move on into the commanders now and take a look at the recommended commanders for what I got going on. So Kong is going to be my top recommended commander. We have Battle Axe for the base trait. That's going to give us some more damage on our AA. We have No Fly Zone for the first perk. That's going to give us more AA damage and more range. We have Tear Off the Wings. That's going to give us even more damage, and it's also going to give us survivability of the AA mounts, which is huge. That means people cannot knock out your AA mounts. We'll talk about that in a bit. So then we're going to go with Firefighter. Lower risk of catching fire and faster cooldown on the damage control, as well as limiting fires to 3 max. That's going to be a survivability thing. Then we're going to go with Master Mechanic. That's going to boost our heals up and give us a couple more heal charges. And then Fight Fire with Fire is going to be my recommended legendary perk. You can go with the Little Rebuild because it would boost your heal. And then we're going to have King and Yamaguchi as our inspirations. That's going to be more range, more damage on the AA. And this thing with this build is a monster at AA. For the vanilla build, we're going to run Lee. And the main thing you're going to lose is some damage off the AA. So I have it set up right now for my Massachusetts, so it's a secondary build. We're going to swap it here. We're going to do No Fly Zone. First perk. Take it down to the next perk. We're going to go with the Turret Traverse because the the secondary perk does not add to your AA, so it's not helpful for AA. Firefighter, again, same perk as Kong. And Master Mechanic, same perk as Kong. So the only thing you're losing is some damage and the survivability of the AA mounts. Fight Fire with Fire as your legendary. Again, because of the heals you have, you can go with Will to Rebuild if you want. And then it would be Yamaguchi and King as your inspirations. Again, I have this set up as a secondary build for my mass. I use Kong for my main. And then we're going to go and head into our featured battle, which... I love this. Let's go. Alright, so we got Tears of the Desert Epicenter. That's going to be our match. It is a Tier 7 match. It's a carrier match. So, going back to the Tear the Wings Off perk on Kong, the survivability of the AA is huge. The reason for that is, as somebody who plays a lot of carriers, when I'm in a division, or even if I have to do it myself with my HE bombers, I'll ask my division mates to literally just spam an AA ship like a California with HE and just cook off their AA. before I go in and attack them. And then when I come in to attack them, they have no AA left. And a lot of people who run California, you know, by the end of a battle after they've been spammed the whole match with HE, they wonder why, you know, a carrier can kill them. Well, that's why, because you have no AA left on your ship. So what that perk does is not allow people to cook off your AA like that. And you're able to, even at the end of a battle, still have AA and still be effective as an AA ship. That can be really huge, especially if there's like a lot of fire spammers in the match, Nelsons, you know, anything that likes throwing HE. And like I said, as a carrier player, I even do it myself. I'll take, you know, if I have a California in the game, I'll go in with my HE bombers, you know, 3-4 runs in a row, and just keep bombing them with HE until I have their AA cooked off, and that's when I'll come with the torps. And then you can't do nothing to my torp planes because you got no AA left. So that perk on Kong is super important. Unfortunately, you don't get it on Lee. And I just wanted to go back and touch on it because it is a very unique perk that is super helpful. So going to the battle here, we backed up at the start. I'm not tanky. I don't have the best DPM, so I want to kind of get an assessment of what's going on here before I just go rushing up into things. I would rather more tankier ships be out in front of me. My main role in this battle is to provide that AA. I'm basically a support ship. So I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm not going to try to be frontline brawling. You don't really want to be brawling in Florida anyway with that reload. It's awful. So now we're going to start moving back up. Kind of see how things are developing. Red is pushing into the middle of the epicenter. Our team is going strong to the flanks. So initially I wanted to come up and support this right flank. But we're going to see the situation develop that cruisers and ships start moving up to that island in the epicenter and hiding behind it. And being we're on this side and we can get crossfires on that, that's what we want to do, is go get those crossfires. Now, what I really wanted to do at the beginning of this match was go over to that left side, because that's where I can see their carrier wants to be. And with an AA ship, that's kind of where I want to be, where that carrier wants to go. But we spawned over here on the right, so we're gonna, you know, not abandon our people, and we're gonna hold this right side. At least for now. Again, I can see these guys pushing in on the left side of that epicenter. That's going to give us crossfires on them, so we're going to set up over here and just try to protect this cap. We don't have, you know, you can see all our ships are either out on the left flank or the right flank. We don't have really anything down the mid. So we just want to protect this cap as best we can. And we're just buying our time right now till we can really move in and start being effective with the AA. And once we move in, like the clear skies is going to come so quick, it's not even funny. And I end up with 37 AA kills. And the only reason it wasn't something more ridiculous is because I deplaned the dude. He's at close range, he's trying to spam me with planes, and he ends up deplaning himself. And he literally ends up coming at me with 1 or 2 planes every run. So here's his first taste of me. Kind of flew by, and you know, my longer range guns opened up on him. So he's definitely aware, at least at this point, I have some range on me. So again, I'm a support ship. I don't want to be main tanking. I don't want to be, you know, getting up in the mix too much. I want to support my team. And the best way I can support my team is to strengthen my ship, AA. So I want to preserve myself and be able to affect the match through my AA. There you can see he just lost his planes. Decided to fly over me, not a good idea. And when we finally push out of here and go, we're gonna go park right in the middle of the map. And basically force him to deal with us. And you're gonna see how fast that clear skies happens once we do that. Like, it's just a wrap at that point. So we're just trying to assess the situation right now. They've gotten that outer ring. They're turning, you know, the middle ring, but they haven't turned the very center ring yet. And I've been in a lot of epicenter games where teams just completely abandon the epicenter and the enemy gets to take it, and like once they get so far up on points, it's hard to take that back, and it's hard to recover that point loss. And so in this mode, you really have to be protective of the epicenter. You have to have somebody in there. You have to be capping it. You have to be defending it. You have to be protecting it. It's just the way this game mode is. Like, when there's DDs in an epicenter, you need a DD in the middle. He has to just literally, it sucks for DDs, you have to just park there the whole match and hold down that middle. And that's not fair to DDs, but that's the game mode, and you know, we're gonna keep it in the game, so it is what it is. So again, we're just putting on the pressure with those crossfires. You can see we're getting our defense. And we're just protecting this epicenter. Like, that's all we're doing right now. Now, he knows I had shots on him on the backside, so he's gonna get all brave, come around the island, trying to figure out where to get away from me, but he's gonna run right into everybody else and have a bad day. So just maintaining this crossfire position enabled that to happen. Now we're gonna start pushing into this epicenter. Things have developed enough, there's enough of their ships down that we can get up in here and really start affecting this match. And I'm gonna end up finishing top on this team with only 40k damage, and that's because of the AA, because of shooting down the planes, because of positioning, because of getting into this cap. Like, we're doing the whole gamut of things. We got a little bit of damage, we got a couple defense, we've got planes shot down, we've got caps. And with only 40k damage, we end up with 2,500 base on this game, so, you know. Again, I'm a support ship. I'm not out here to get my 200k DPN game. You know, I'm not a Sims build. I'm a support ship, and that's what I'm doing. I'm supporting my team. And that's why I'm putting my carrier right in the middle, so their carrier has to go through me to get to our carrier, to get to any ships that need to be protected, anything that needs to be behind me. You gotta come through me first. So here we see this Kansas. We're gonna be very careful with our positioning here because he's got bigger guns than me and he has more armor than me. So this is not a fight I want to take directly to him. We're gonna, you know, get some shots on him, stuff like that, but I'm mostly worried about protecting myself, preserving myself, and keeping my AA in this game. You can see right there, we tank some off the belt. And this is where the clear skies comes, because now this guy's just getting his plane shredded. He's coming in here, getting aggressive. And just getting his planes absolutely tore up. And that's what, like his first, second squadron since we pushed out to the middle. So yeah, it does not take us very long to get this clear sky at all. Had he had more planes, I would have had a lot more shot down this game. You'll see at the end, he's literally coming at me with like 1 and 2 planes. He has nothing left. That's how effective this ship is. Like, just completely deplane the dude. So here he comes again, and again, we're just gonna shred his planes. That's what we do. Protecting ourselves from this Kansas. There's the clear sky right there. How fast was that? It's only been a couple minutes since I drove out into the mid, and that's really when we started dealing with planes. And already a clear sky. And again, there would have been a lot more planes shot down this game if he had more planes to offer. And again, this is a tier 7 carrier, so imagine what this thing does to tier 5s. Like, if you're one of those people that hate carriers, this is a ship and build for you. This is how you torture a carrier player. Run this ship, this build, and you put it in positions to protect your team, to protect caps, to protect objectives. And you force that carrier to deal with you, whether they like it or not. Like, if you're somebody that plays California, you know how to position your California to get your clear skies and force the carrier to deal with you. You do the same thing in this thing. You just, you know, you're not going to be as strong as dealing with other surface ships as California is. But you can control this match. We are literally parked in the middle of a tier 7 game on Epicenter in a tier 6 battleship that everyone says is absolutely atrocious. And just holding it like it's ours. What do you want to do? Bring your planes. I'm protecting my guys, and that's allowing them to focus and do what their ships do. Allowing them to get the DPM, allowing them to get the kills. And that's what this ship does. Again, if you want to go do memes, and you know you want to challenge yourself and see how much damage you can get in, by all means do so. But don't talk about how horrible the ship is because it doesn't excel in that role. That's not what it's designed for. That's not what it's built for. It is built to do what it is doing right now. This is what this ship is good at. It has some of the best AA in the game. I run Kong on my California as well. My California, I kind of swap back and forth between Sims, New Jersey, Kong. When I put Kong on California and I'm in a tier 5 game, it does not feel as strong as this ship feels as far as AA in a tier 7 game. Like, once they cross that 4-7 threshold where those 40mm Mark II Bofors engage, it's just over for them. It really is. Like, it's doing so much damage at that 4-7 threshold. And I'm hitting them with the dual-purpose secondaries at like 6-7. So they're already getting hit coming into that 4-7, and then when they hit that 4-7 line, it's over. It's a wrap. And now look at what he's coming. Look at the squadron that's coming from him. He's got like 1 or 2 planes, and that's it, because he's deplaned. How fast did that happen? Like, I pulled out into that middle, and minutes later, he's deplaned. This is what this ship does. This is what it is good at. And that's game. I appreciate y'all. Take care, you too. I'll catch you later. Bye.
Get your hands off of this glass, last cone.